Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Shooting Star. I say today, tonight we're going to be playing Shooting Star. Of course, it's a weekend. There's already been another puzzle that's been posted earlier. Now, I haven't really seen a nice night sky like the one seen in the thumbnail here since I was very young. So I think I mentioned in the past that I grew up in Dubai, and we used to go on these camping trips out in the desert. That's really the only time I've used to be able to see the night sky, assuming of course it wasn't sandy and windy and kind of covering. But since then I've really only ever lived in large cities such as London, even bigger ones like Shanghai, New York, etc. And really the light pollution is so bad you never really see the night sky unless you're driving hours and hours away from where you live. Well, that's what Sleuth is doing, studying the night sky. There's a shooting star there. Somehow the telescope is pointing the wrong way. I don't know what Sleuth is doing. Maybe he's studying something else. Anyway, let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule sets. So we have Shooting Star by Olli Wright. And I think it's a fairly aptly named puzzle. You can see there's a star in here. There's essentially the tail behind it as it's whizzing through space. Presumably that's almost like Earth beneath it with that green line. Right. Rule sets. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row. Column, and 3 by 3 box. We know that one. Today we're talking about slow thermos, something that Olli, in his comments about this puzzle as he posted it, he's fascinated by. And the key thing about slow thermometers, so starting from the white circle, which is in row 7, yep, column 2, this is the one, and moving along any grain line towards the tip, such as this one here and this tip, digits may increase or stay the same, but not decrease. So it is sort of like a thermometer, but you can do strange things like 1, 1, 1. As long as Sudoku rules allow it, that's totally fine. Now, clearly I can't repeat 1 in the same box here, so that would be 2. But I can continue with 2, 2 again, and then 3. So despite the length of this thermometer here, I only have to go all the way up to 3. So just watch out for this slow thermometer, and I guess this shooting star. This will be very interesting. Then we have the teal line that's here at the bottom. It's not green. Any set of 3 sequential cells along the teal line must contain 1 digit from 147, 1 from 258, and 1 from 369. I'm assuming it doesn't have to be in this order, but obviously any 3 sets. So they're going to repeat whatever pattern you end up with. So these 3 have to include 1 from 258, 369, and 147. And obviously this pattern will keep repeating throughout this entire line. So that's all the rules we have for today. If you fancy joining Sleuth out there with the telescope, studying this shooting star, hopefully solve the puzzle along the way as well, link will be in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So, yeah, it is a fascinating puzzle. Right, so the questions that I'm going to pose to you. Yeah, there are so many good questions to be asked here. So take a look at boxes 4 and 5. And the key thing about these boxes is that they're entirely covered in slow thermometers. And that's interesting because you've got to start to ask questions like, which digit in box 4 is a 1? And whilst I don't know what it is, I know the answer is it's got to be one of these digits. Can't be that this is, 0 and this is 1. That doesn't work. So one of these is going to be a 1. Can't have it halfway up the thermometer in the same box, mind you, because that would imply that there is another digit beneath the 1 in the same box. So one of these is 1, making this cell for sure a 1, and therefore this cell not a 1. We have our first digit in a minute. You can see now 1 in box 5 is interesting. None of these could be 1, but all of these are too far away. So if I try and put a 1 in here, well, that is now implying that's a 0. Of course, I can write it in, but that's not an answer. So one of these two cells is a 1. Can't be that one. If that was the 1, that would have to be a 1, and we've already established that wouldn't be the case, because that would be 2. That would have to be 3. That can't be the 1. So only one of these that can be the 1 is this one, which forces immediately this to be the 1, and therefore this is not the 1. Lovely. Very, very good. We can keep repeating these questions, I'm sure. So, oh yeah, very interesting. Here. Have I broken the puzzle already? So box 2. So none of these are 1. This couldn't be a 1 because that cell can't be a 1. So this is out. Same, this is not a 1 because, again, that cell has to be smaller. So none of these can't be this one because that's 2. That's a minimum of 2. You know, this is now at least 2, 3, 3, 3. This is at least a 4. And obviously this is going to be bigger. So the only place for a 1 is in here. 1 is now one of 2 cells in there. 1 is now one of 2 cells in here, just Sudoku. None of these are 1s because of these ones. We can keep going. I'm pretty sure none of these could be 1. Just think about it. Yeah, that can't be a 1. This is already 2, 2, 3, 4. This is way bigger. Again, way bigger. Not 1s, not 1, not 1. Yeah, this is at least 2, 3, 4, 4, 4. So no, no. 1 is in one of 2 cells in here. 1 is in one of these cells, and I'm pretty sure it's not this cell. Let me just think about it again. No, that's a 2. So yeah, this is definitely not a 1. That's a 1. Right, none of these are 1s, just Sudoku. So one of these 2 is a 1, and this is interesting because it's, we may as well just color this kind of blue, yellow, and red, so that whenever we actually figure out what these are, we just know that we don't know what it is, we just know that the pattern repeats. So if that's a 1, this is clearly not a 1. Oh, that's the answer. In this X-wing, if that's a 1, neither of these are 1s, and that would be a 1. And obviously that breaks this modular line, I'm going to call it. Is it modular? No, 1, 4. Yeah, it is modular. Modular 3. So neither of these could be the 1. That is the double 1. That's 1's not done. Yeah, we still have another X-wing in here. Okay. That's 1's largely done. I guess next question to ask. I mean, I'm interested to ask about both ends. 1s and 2s are interesting, but equally 9s and 8s are interesting. But since we've done so well with 1, I'm going to ask the question about 2. So 2 in box 4, I think has to be one of these 2 cells. Yeah, this is too far, this is too far, this is too far. So it's got to be in here. So 2 is not in there. Even if this is a 2, that's a 3. This can't be a 2. These can't be 2. 2 has to be one of these cells. Again, these are just too far because I'm pretty sure that can't be a 2. That would be 2, 2, at least 3. That's a 2. 2 now is in one of 3 cells in here. Fairly sure it's not that one. That's a 2, 3, 4, because they're all in the same row. 4, 4 at least. That's not a 2. Up here, this be a 2? No. 2, 3, 4, that's at least a 4. 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, that's at least a 4. So no 2s. Pretty sure that's the 2. I'm going to write it in anyway. We've also checked. Oh, hang on, no. 2 could actually be in one of these 2 cells. That is not a 2. Because that would need to be a 2, which it can't be. And it's not a 1. And same again, that would have to be 1 or 2, and it's neither. So no, it's one of 2 cells. We can't actually resolve it yet. That's a shame. Not as interesting. But kind of. So 2s are not here. Neither of these could be a 2, because essentially we'd have to have a 2, then a 2 again in the same row. That doesn't work, and the same in this one. So it's not 2s, it's not 2s. 2 is one of 3 cells. Yeah, this is way less interesting now. And, once you get out of, I think, these boxes, kind of 4, 5, and to a degree 2, they're a lot less interesting because, there's a lot of cells that are not on the slow thermo. So maybe the question is 9. Let's ask that question. So where does 9 go? I think 9 can only be in one of these two cells in box 4. So it can actually be here because I could do 9, 9, 9. That actually works. This doesn't. That's a 9. Sure, I can do a 9 in here, but that would be 10. That would be 11. So that's not a 9. Same challenge here. Even if that's 9, that's 9, that's 9, that's 10. So none of these, clearly none of these, because there are more digits above it, and same. So we're restricted to 9s in here. No 9s there. That can't be a 9 because there's another one ahead of it. That can't be a 9. There's another one ahead of it. That's got to be the 9. That's the only place for it. That also means this is a 9. Yeah, I think that is forced. So, 9s, not 9s, not 9. 9 is in one of two cells. 9 is definitely in here in these three cells. Quite tough to ask questions like where does 3 go? No, maybe not in box 5. I can have a 3 in here because that can be 2. I can't have a 3 in here because that's not 1 or 2. So 3 is not in any of these. 3 can't be here either because that's 2. No, it can. Can do 2, 3, and then another 3. So 3 is on the right, on the left-hand side here. 3 is not here. Fairly sure 3 is not on the right-hand side. Otherwise, I would need to have 1 or 2 in these two cells, and neither are available. So this is the 3. Right, I think that's going to force this to be the 2 3s, because otherwise, if that's a 3, that has to be 1 or 2, and we know it's neither. We've established it's not a 2 because that would be a 2. That would be, that's nonsense. So that has to be the 3. That has to be the 3, therefore. This is not the 3. This is not the 3. This has to be the 3. This has to be the 2. Otherwise, I can't get to 3 in here. Right. Does that 2 help me with anything else? Not necessarily. Doesn't help me with my 2s. It's okay. Forces a 3 down here, which is fine. Should I be asking which one is 8? Because you see, the 9 is here. Means the 8 has to be one of these two cells, I'm going to say. Because, yeah, if that's 8, that's 9. If that's 8, that's 9. And none of them are that. So that's the 8. If that is 8, that would make this 8. That would make this 9. If that is 8, that would make this 8. That would make this 8 or 9. All possible. So it doesn't force anything. None of these are 8, though. That is interesting. Because then that can't be 8 because that would have to be 9, and it isn't. So none of these are 8. 8 is restricted to this end. It can obviously be here at the end. It can't be this cell. Because if that's 8, that's 9, that's 10. That gives me an 8-9 pair in here. That gives me a 2 in there. That is not a 2. That is a 2. That's the only place for a 2 now, because remember, if this either of these were 2, the prefix of it would also be a 2 in the same row. So that's 2. That makes this 5, 8. That makes this 2, 5, 8. And at least we have one of the modulus sorted. That can still be a 9, by the way. We don't know. Interesting. If that is... Yeah, if we know what this is, it actually tells us which one of these is the 9. Because if that's a 9, that's a 9, 9. If That's 8. Clearly, that's no longer a 9. That would be the 9. So this kind of forces a lot of things. The 8s... Oh, hang on. The 8s and the 9s are lining up in here. That's 8. Yeah. I guess we can hide one of the 8s and 9s in here as it's not an 8-9 pair, but interesting again. Right, let's keep going. So now that we've done something with the 2s and 3s, half tempted to ask about 4s. Again, 4s can't be here because that'd have to be 1, 2, or 3. 4s can't be here. I think this is forcing this to be a 4, which forces this to be 2 or 4 because it's not 1 or 3. 4s are not here. Interesting. Have I broken it? It looks like it. Because if I put a 4 in any of this, what is this cell? Looks like I broke it. Ouch. What was the logical misstep I made? Where can 4 go in here? Sorry, let me step back. Was my pencil marks incorrect or something? No. The 8 and 9 are definitely here. This can't be an 8 because that would be 9, 10. This is 8 and 9. Yeah, so I'm not sure where my misstep is, unless I made it earlier. Can that be that's the only place for a 4. All of these are before it. And then what do I do about the 4 in here? I can't do anything. Because the 1, 2, 3s are gone. Yep, I made a mistake. Sorry. Because that can't be 1 or 2. These can't be 3. I'm fairly confident of that. 3 has to be up here. And again, this can't be 1 or 2. Let's just try 2. That would have to be 2. You know, that would be 1, that would be 0, that would be -1. I mean, it's not possible. So if the 3s are forced in here, can the 3 all the way be all the way here? No. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, yeah, it can't be. So one of these has to be a 3. That can't be a 2. We've already established. I'm fairly, I'm pretty happy with the logic here. Which again forces a 4 here. So I've made a mistake even earlier than that. Wow, this is a awkward puzzle. Awkward if you don't get it. I mean, yeah, because this is not 1, 2, or 3, so the 4s are none of these. That has to be the 4. No 4. That can be a 4. So the problem was my 8, 9 pair. What was wrong with this being an 8? Yep, 9, 10. What was wrong with this being an 8? 8, 9. That actually does work. The 8 was never there. Right. No 4. That can't be 4 because that's not 1, 2, or 3. And it can't be a 2. Can't be a 2. Yeah. So no 4. No 4. 4 has to be in here. Let's just keep that in mind. That can be a 4 after the 3. How did I miss that before? Don't ask. That can't be the 4. That would have to be 1, 2, or 3, and it's none of them. 4 is in here. 4 is joining the 9. Is it appropriate to ask the question about 8s? Probably should. 8s have to be here. Otherwise, what would come after it? So 8s has to be here. No 8s. 8 in here would be a 9 there. No 9s. So 8 has to be in one of these cells. That 8 doesn't work because that would be 9, 10. So that is still an 8, 9 pair, which forces a 2, which forces a 4. That's fine. I just somehow missed that the 4 could actually go in here. Silly. Sorry about that. That's not a 2. That is the 2. 5, 8. 5, 8. Kind of forgetting the basics of thermometers now. And this is now force. This is 5, 6, 7 in a row. Yeah. These cells are also known. They are 6, 7. Which makes none of these 4 to be after 6, 7. That has to be the 4. Therefore, this is, well, not 1 or 4. This is a 7. And this is not a 1. This is 4 or 7. Which makes these 3, 6, 9. Except that is not a 9. That is not a 9 either. This is 3, 6. And this is 3, 6, 9. Right. So at least our teal earth line is done. Let's just see if we can keep going with this shooting star. This 6 is not here. So this is a 6, 8 pair. This is a 5, 7 pair. Right, I'm feeling a lot better about this. Whichever one is the 8 has another 8 ahead of it, then a 9 in here. So this is a 9 for sure. And after the 6, it could be another 6, we don't know. This down here is 8, 9? Looks like it. Yeah, 8, 9. This 6, 7 gave me a 3 in here earlier. Just ignored it. And this cell is known. That's just a 5. 5, I can type. This has to be smaller than 6, 7 and bigger than 1. And smaller than a 5, actually. But there's still a ton of options. 2, 3, 4. And 6, actually, because... No. It's in the same row. This is also 2, 3, 4 or 5. Not very useful. Okay. This is quite difficult, isn't it? Yeah, that forces... I don't know why I didn't think about this. That forces this to be a 2. That forces this to be a 3. The 2 was resolved way earlier. That 3 in here means that has to be 4 or 5. It could be either. Remember, it's a slow thermo. What else do I know? We're nearly done with the slow thermos, aren't we? So this could be all the way up to 9. This is at least a 4. What 4 is in one of these two cells? Because this is not a 4. And these can't be 4. Otherwise, one of them beneath them has to be 1, 2, or 3. So 4 is restricted to these two cells. Not enough. I don't know why I have a 3 in here. That's 2. That's 2, 4, 5. That's a triplet. And up here is 6, 7, 8, 9. With a definite 7 and 8 up here. Because this is not 7 or 8. Interesting. Yeah, there's a ton of options now. This opened up quite a bit. This is not a complete pencil mark. I'm just going to delete it. So these are at least 6 and as high as 8 because they can't be 9. So this is 6, 7, 8. That's the maximum they can be. This is as little as 2. This is ludicrous. And this is as little as 4. Almost a triplet. Almost. Yeah, because one of these is a 9. Let's think about this for a second. I can do 6, 6, 6. This can be 6, 6, 7 at least. So this is 7, 8, 9. It is a triplet, but this is unfortunately 6, 7, 8, or 9. almost a quadruple here. And these are potentially incredibly low digits. Not very helpful. 4 is one of 3 cells with this sort of X-wing, kind of X-wing. How can I force any of these things? I need to resolve this 6, 7, this 8, 9. That 9 doesn't help. You see, the thing is, I can't see. So we have essentially here another 5, 8 and another 6, 9, which gives me a 5, 8 pair. Doesn't help with the 6, 9. And this can be a 2, so I can't even ask a question like, where does 2 go in this column? And I'm fairly sure, yeah, one of these 2 cells is an 8. Yeah, one of these 2 cells is an 8. Whichever one is the 8 has another 8 above it, then a 9. That's a 5. It's very tough to spot 5. That's another 5. That is not a 5. That's a 2, 4 pair. That gives me a 5. That resolves, if you remember, that one of these had to be the 4, so that's the 4, which also gives me another 4 in here. Lovely. This is 6, 7, 8, 9. Not helpful. That can't be a 6, because these have to be at... Yeah. So this is at least 6, 7, 8. But this can actually be a 6. That's a shame. Right, let's try this. 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9. And whichever one is not used of the 2, 5, sorry, the 5, 6, 7, 8 is in here with the 2. Tough. Okay. What do I have in here? So the remaining digits are, got a 3, another 6, 9, and an 8. Where does the 8, and the 3, and the 6 all go? We don't know. So let's think about 6, 7, 8, 9s for a second, because we've got 3 of them in here. So at most I have 1 more somewhere in here. 4 I can see is there. 2 I can see is here. So this is actually like a 1, 2, 4 triple. Not a 2, not a 4, not a 1. I have another 6, 7, 8, 9 in here, but only 1 more. Which I'm pretty sure, actually this is not even a 7. Which I'm pretty sure means that this has to be 6 or 8. I mean, or 9. Because I can only have 1 more of them in here. That's got to be the other one. And in here I need to have 3 and 5. And it's a 3, 5 pair. And this is 6, 8, or 9. And the other one is down here. And on this side is another 6, 8, 9 with a 3. Okay. So 7 is definitely here in one of these 2 cells. Lining up with these 7s, which gives me a 7 in here. That is not a 7. 7 forces this to be a 6, forces this to be an 8, that's an 8, that's a 9, that's an 8, that's a 9, that is no longer a 9. None of these are a 9. That's the only place for the 9. There you go. Doesn't actually help me here, does it? Interesting. No, it does. That's a 6. Which gives me 7 and 8. Which gives me 7 and 5. Right, this is coming together now. This is 6, 7, or 8 still. This is not 8 or 9, that's a 7. This is not 7 or 9. Oh, hang on. It's never a 7. This is 6, 8. And this is not 6 or 8. This is not an 8. That is a 6. That is an 8. This has to be the 9. That has to be the 8. This is now 3, 6, 9, and it's not a 9. This is 3, 6. That's the 9. Lovely. We know what these two are. They are 8 and 6. Not resolved. That's fine. I'm okay with that. 1, 2, 4. Not resolved. This is not 6, 8, or 9. This is a 7. This is 1 or 4. It's not a 4. It's a 1. That helps me. That's 4. That's 1. That's 2. That's the 1's done. Right, we are going to solve this after all. 2. Not here. So I've got another 3, 5, and a 2. This is 2 or 3, not a 5. So I've got a 3, 5, a 6, and a 4. 4 is not here. 4 is in one of 2 cells. And this is 3, 5, or 6. Not very helpful. 3 is not here. This can be 3. I could do 2, 3. So this is 3, 4, 5, or 6. I'm not going to pencil mark all of these. This is just silly. What about in here? 2, 5, I'm going to say. And down here, I've got... Actually, that 7 gave me a 4 ages ago, which makes this not a 4, makes this a 4. Fairly sure... No, that doesn't force the 2. Remember, this is 3, 5, or 6. Given... No, but I mean, I could have 3 in here. I could have 5 in there, so this doesn't force this to be a 2 at all. Rest of this, let's have a think. Oh, that 8 gave me a 9, gave me an 8. Doesn't help me with my 6, 7. That 4 gives me a 2, gives me a 4. Again, doesn't help me with my 6, 7, which in turn doesn't help me with my 3, 6. And my 3, 5 is up here, that's fine. Essentially, I have another, this is a triplet, 3, 6, and 7, plus something else. What is that something else? A 2. 2's are lining up, which makes this a 2. And this is 3 or 5. In here, got another 3, 6, 7. Remember, none of these are 6 actually, plus a 9. That 9 tells me that's the 9. This is 3, 6, or 7. Not 6, not 7. It's a 3. 6, 7, 6, 3, 2, 7. In fact, 7 is resolved. That's 7. That's 2. That's 5. That's 2. That is not a 5. 3, 5, 6. Not resolved. This is the only place where there's an 8. Apparently. Yeah. 8, 6, 3, 5, 6, 5, 3. This has to be the 8. This is a 3. And if I've not made any mistakes, that's a 7 for the finish. Hang on, I can't even see. That's a 6 for the finish. Lovely puzzle, Ollie. Another clumsy solve from me. Yeah, maybe I'm done recording for a bit. I'm going to go and enjoy the weekend, try and freshen up my mind, and stop making such clumsy mistakes like not seeing the 4 could be after the 3. That was ridiculous. Solve aside, what a phenomenal puzzle. Hope that you guys enjoyed it. Maybe the video, at least it would have been humorous in bits. See you back for the next one. Bye-bye for now.